Welcome to Between the Lines. It's the State of the Union, or the State of Oak Ridge tonight. Happy Thursday night. We're almost to April, guys. We're almost 27th. We're almost there. And we're going to talk to Warren Gooch about things that are going on in Oak Ridge. Nobody knows more than Warren. He transcends it all. He's been helping. The city is going in great directions. I would say Warren is probably the most astute person and done more to get things moving commercially, retail in Oak Ridge than any mayor in history. And we've done such a great job. Welcome, Warren.
Alan, it's good to be with you.
I like it.
And thank you for your...
I could have got Trump on easier than you. You were here, you were there, you were here.
That's right.
I finally ran him down. And Fleischman's same way.
I talked to Flashman this morning. We usually try to talk at least once a week, but his schedule is much busier than mine, and so we catch each other when we can. So we had a good talk this morning.
I make him talk every morning, but that's because I'm on the team. But I mean, he is busy. He's going to be busier because he's going to have to. Cuts are coming. You know how it
That's
works.
right.
And then we need some. But I mean, you got to manage what you really need. Like I know EM's going to be the lead department. I predict. I don't know anything, but I predict that EM will see a lot of cuts, and so will science. But we hope that we can keep the renovations at ORNL and Y12 going and get our waste and all that stuff done. So I hope.
Well, I'm not sure environmental management's going to take a cut.
Okay. All right.
You may get me started on that, so that's okay.
You're higher up than I am. I know that's your voice, but you're higher up than I am. I just don't think you can get into the weapons side of things and the production side of things. I think you've got to go after other things. My biggest problem isn't any of the projects. We'll start right here.
Right, sure.
I think the biggest problem is I played college basketball and high school basketball. Congratulations to Oak Ridge. They did a
going
great
there.
job.
I want to say something about that.
I watched the last game. I hadn't watched a game in 2 years, and I saw that game. And some of those kids I didn't even recognize. But I'm going to tell you, Ray can play. The point guard can play. He'll be a good college player. Anyway, going on back to it and looking at it, I don't know. I don't know.
Just remember, in terms of the amount of money that's been spent by the Department of Energy over the years, EM has produced here, done what they were supposed to do, have been in front of the line in terms of getting things done. More,
But to be fair, Hanford's underwater, has been since the war.
Right.
World War II. They need more. They do get a bigger piece than anybody, but they need more. I don't know where you prioritize.
Well, but when you get the money, you need to use it and make it efficient and get results
let's
for it.
Let's presume the budget's going to be 80% of last year or 75%. Just a rough number on EM. Could be more, but say 80%. So where do you fund and that's the kind of things that Chuck and other appropriators have to deal with. That's all I'm saying. Right. I will say this. One thing we don't need is more referees. We have a basketball court. You have 2 or 3. Can you imagine there's 7 referees in basketball? Right. Too many referees. Regulations within DOE. We need to get going.
Let's talk about the high school for a minute.
Yeah, let's do it.
And I want to remind. I want to remind everybody. Over the past year, you had the Oak Ridge High School baseball team go to the state tournament for the first time in 40 years. We had champions in track and field in the state championships last spring. Right. We come to the fall and we're football, and we lose in a very highly contested game, semifinals to Sevier County, who ends up winning it all. Then we come into basketball, and both the boys and the girls, men's and women, make the state championship.
And we beat Sevier County. We got a little bit of revenge.
That's right. We got revenge. The girls obviously were disappointed that they didn't do as well as they wanted to do. And then the boys, come in second. Did very well. So I would just say it's been a renaissance in terms of sports and athletics in the schools. And in the schools overall, we have great kids.
Oh, yeah.
We have great kids, and everybody needs to remember that. And whether they're in athletics, whether they're in the band, whether they're in robotics, whether they're in the shops that are teaching them the next generation of doing things. We are so lucky to have such exceptional children and exceptional families. And I think the school system is doing its part to help keep those children moving ahead.
And I'm supposed to be the political consultant. Okay, I mean, that's well said. So anyway, I will say this, though, and you made a good point on this, a collateral issue in football, we place a lot of local ads for Paul. I do, a lot of politicians on the games, Oak Ridge versus Clinton, other things, et cetera, et cetera. And I always tell a client, what's by the halftime show? And they'll say, well, the game, nobody's watching the game, et cetera, et cetera. You know what I tell them? 100 sets of parents are.
That's exactly right.
For that minute, maybe for a little bit longer, but the band's a big number.
Absolutely.
You know, it's a big number. And it never got organized properly, but the band would have bought pillars at .coms, bought all the history. They would have bought pillars at the Blankenship Field and done some stuff. There's a lot of history in Oak Ridge and a lot of stuff.
And we celebrate that history, and sports and activities in the school system are a major part of that.
Oh, no question.
And we need to continue to celebrate that and honor
Mayor
that.
Gooch has been a major financial supporter of the schools, even this year on trips. I know you didn't tell me, but trips and helping the athletic fund those trips. People don't understand how much a bus is.
It's too damn much.
$1,500 a day.
Yeah.
You keep winning, you keep paying.
That's right.
And
That's
you get
right.
2 days. It's a lot. Okay, great. Okay, so the high school is doing great. I haven't kept up with student enrollment. I know it's going up a couple of hundred, and system-wide.
Overall, I think system-wide is a little over 5,000 students.
Is that good?
Yes,
It was 6 in the high day. I know.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me ask you this. What's going on in Linden School? What do you think?
What's going on? What?
On Linden School on the west side.
Well, I think the school board is going to be dealing with that and doing an assessment as it relates to, whether we do a new school building, whether we try to add on to Linden, how we're going to balance that with the finances in terms of paying for it. But clearly, the growth right now, as it relates to school enrollment, is projected to be on the west side, and so
No question.
And we're going to have to
Preserve a loan. You can build a school with the interest.
Yeah. And so I expect over the next 6 months there's going to be a lot of discussion about that.
Yeah, and nobody's more conservative and fiscally conservative than I am, but I will say straight up, you've got to do what's best for the neighborhood and the schools
That's
and
right.
the kids.
That's right.
And then we'll figure out a way to finance it. Tell us what you want to do. And it's tough when 5 people are making that decision. That's a lot. You need
and you need to respect their jobs, the school board,
Yes.
and the administration of the schools. Even though they're Oak Ridge schools, they are not managed by the city of Oak Ridge. They're managed by the Oak Ridge school system, and I respect the job that the Board of Education does,
Sure.
and certainly Dr. Borchers and his staff. So we will be supportive with what they come forward with.
Those are always emotional issues.
That's correct.
In the community.
That's
I can
correct.
say I was out a lot last year in the political scene. It's about 50-50. I mean, it's not like 80% want to build a new school. Half of them want to keep Linden and renovate. Half of them want to build a new school. It's kind of interesting. I think it's going to be a hot topic in this year's discussions, public forums and everything for that kind of situation. All right. So the schools look like they're doing okay. Things are moving. What else have we got? What else you want to talk about? Pick a subject. Let's go. Me and I know you.
Well, let's talk about development inside. Well, let's talk about Main Street.
Okay.
Let's talk about Main Street and Wilson Street.
Good place.
And so Tim Elliott and his group of investors and team have signed a letter of intent to do Wilson Street, the 6.5 acres that the city owns.
Okay, where is that? Because I've been here a long time, but a lot of people don't know where those things are.
Well, it runs between Illinois. Coming off Illinois over to the city hall and by the mall, but it's the property. It's the property behind.
Shed's apartment?
No. It's Wilson Street runs between Lafayette and
Oak Ridge Pharmacy.
Yes,
all
that's
that
correct.
Stuff. Okay, but
right.
Coming off Illinois, that's a long way away.
No, coming off I'm sorry, the Turnpike.
I'm sorry.
No, Turnpike, I'm sorry. Yeah.
So where the Art Bowling Lane used to be, right there on that corner across from Marriott?
Coming up, well, it starts, it really starts right behind the drugstores, and it's that whole street by the Marriott coming toward City Hall.
Everything behind CVS.
That's correct.
Going up there. That's 6
well,
acres.
not everything. There's
Kume.
That's right. Behind Kume, I mean, you have a private owner of the property, Kume, and acreage right behind it, and then there's another 6.5 acres. Then you come on, toward Tulane. There's some talk that perhaps discussions I think are going on between Tim Elliott and the University of Tennessee, which owns the forensic center, training center there.
What do you do? I hear they're going to move. I hear they're going to buy them out.
Well, I think they're talking, and that would make an additional 6 acres available. So you
not adjacent. Is it?
Yes, it is. Yeah, but it basically is. So close
You're
enough.
Way down there.
So,
okay.
but what it would do is that would provide additional acreage to do housing for ORNL.
You're right. It bends around. Oh, yeah, I've read about that.
Yeah, so that's, and I'll give the leadership at ORNL credit, Dr. Stephen Streifer, who's the lab director.
Like him.
Who lives in Oak Ridge, who
That's
promotes the city of Oak Ridge.
That's important.
And wants as many of his interns, college interns that are here for a year, the new staff that's coming in, whether they're here on a contract for 1 year, 2 years, whatever, or permanently, to be able to find appropriate and affordable housing.
But it would be good housing.
It would be good housing,
not just
absolutely. Yes, yes.
It would be a fancy condo type of thing.
And so we'll find out in April. That's when the Elliott team comes back to the land bank, which owns the city property, in terms of his plans going forward. There's a letter of intent in place. They'll have to sign, a purchase agreement, in April, hopefully. And so that would move forward after several years of delay.
Very good. I mean, it's moving, isn't it?
All right. So the other thing is, with the new water plant, $85 million water plant, should be opened late this summer.
So they're building it.
Oh well, it's going to be.
People don't keep up with
It's going to be open. It's going to be open
It's up
this
on the
year.
hill where the old one was?
No, it's the intake center is back toward. Back toward Carbide Park, back down that way.
Okay, gotcha.
So that's where the intake center was, and that's what was that was
Makes sense.
85 years old, and so
We've been on that for 3 years, and we talk about it every year.
That's right.
And I'll give you credit. I would be critical, but you have made that an issue for Oak Ridge. You used to call me and say, Alan, we're 1 day away from nobody having any water. You remember that?
That's right.
You fought hard for that, man.
And then in addition to that, we're working on a plan, like a 7-8 year plan, to enhance and expand electrical capacity and do repairs on the electrical grid, so that it's more efficient, it's more reliable, particularly as you're moving out west. I mean, we still have electrical lines that have been here, for 80 years, just like we got water pipes that have been here for 80 years.
They're all over
and so we've got to, we got to continue, to work on those.
Well, I would think we'll get some tax dollars from the west, and I think the west part of the city. I think we'll grow a little bit, but sometimes you got to invest in infrastructure. That's just part of it, and we need it bad. You're right. We're 80 years old. We're not 30. We didn't rebuild 30 years ago.
No.
A lot of cities that are 100, 150 years old, they reinvested in the 60s and 70s. We had the 40s. We didn't worry about it. So that's fair, and that's a tough on the present administration. It's no different than schools and everything else. Right. Things change. They change. But they've been working. I mean, I get a sewer notice about every 2 months. We're going to be doing this. We're going to be turning this off. So them and the water people have been out working. There's no question. I agree with that. I think it's been good.
And then, of course, we've got.
What are we going to have? I guess all of the property between Rick's apartments and Illinois pretty much taken. We got the new businesses, and everybody says First Watch, great place to eat.
Yeah, that's what I hear.
And my buddies out of Bradley County and other areas, and they do urgent care. They've walked that, so I think they're open now, aren't they?
Yes, they are open.
Okay.
Yeah, they are open.
Very good.
And so there'll be, in R&R properties, everybody needs to understand the difference that they've made in this city.
Oh, yeah.
For the last 30 years. And, of course, Richard Sr.'s been here, and then Rick and Ryan, and they're doing a fabulous job. They build first-class buildings.
Oh, always have.
And always have.
You go down Illinois or you go down Turnpike, it's a different world.
Right.
And that's just it. I call him the Joe Hollingsworth of Oak Ridge.
Yeah.
But because I think Joe has been a difference maker. What a great man.
Job.
I went out, first time I'd been out to tour, but I went out and ate, and the place was packed. There had to
Aspire.
there had to be 1,000 kids and parents walking around. Beautiful day.
Yeah.
I think it was Monday, and I was very impressed.
Well,
but if you look
sometimes, let me say this. Let me put in a plug for Aspire. Joe Hollingsworth has built that with his money.
$50 million of his money.
And I would encourage everybody that hears this, if you haven't been, go. Look at the park, look at the facilities, and it's a great place to take your children. It's a great place to ride your bikes. It's a great place to take your dogs.
Oh,
it is. It is.
Got
it's
a big
about
park area,
250 acres.
Grade school park, middle school park. I mean, they
great restaurant, great event center. But it's.
Getting that venue started.
You need to go out there, and you're going to be impressed.
But even though I will say this, even though we're on Oak Ridge, I have always argued that Carriage Trace Apartments in the 90s or 80s had more impact on the Clinton community than anything over there. It simply allowed 1,000 people to stay in the community.
That's correct.
And if they hadn't had that, it would have been mass West Knoxville movement or North Knoxville, right, and they wouldn't have stayed in the area. Let's take a break, and we'll come right back with more about the city of Oak Ridge.
From Oak Ridge, Tennessee, IB3 Global Solutions conducts operations around the world to enhance the U.S. national security posture and minimize radiological and nuclear threats. IB3 Global Solutions. Mission first.
Feeling overwhelmed with your business finances? At P&L Business Services, we handle all your bookkeeping, payroll, and tax needs. From federal tax returns to QuickBooks training, we've got you covered. With over 25 years of experience, we provide customized packages to fit your business. Focus on what you love most, building your business. Let us take care of the rest. Call 865-294-4792. P&L Business Services, empowering you to grow your business.
Prescription drug misuse is a prevalent and potentially fatal problem. When people do not properly monitor, store, and dispose their medications, it can create an opportunity for misuse. Count it. Make it a goal to count your pills once every 2 weeks. Lock it. Secure your medications at home. Drop it. Drop off unused or expired medications for proper disposal at any police department in Anderson County. For more info, visit asapofanderson.org. Brought to you by ASAP of Anderson. Prevention works.
Over 14,000 neighbors live in fear of becoming sick or injured and having to make a choice between putting food on the table or seeking medical care. The free medical clinic tries to take that fear away.
What do we help them with? We help them with diabetes, hypertension, any kind of medical need that they need that's necessary. And being in a community with the African American community lets them know that we're here.
Fan Gear Barn is Oak Ridge's source for new and vintage sports fan gear from around the world of sports. Find your favorite team gear at Fan Gear Barn, located at 977 Oak Ridge Turnpike, across from the hospital. Open 10 a.m. to 7 p.m., 6 days a week. Closed on Sundays.
We're back with Warren Gooch, Mayor of Oak Ridge, and we're talking about all things Oak Ridge. Now we move to something that a lot of people with kids are interested in, and that's the Oak Ridge swimming pool. It's been in the news for a few years. The last time I really did any look at it or in-depth analysis of it, we were trying to figure out, are we going to repair the pool? Are we going to replace the pool? What are we going to do? Tell us what's happened the last 2 years.
Well, I think basically the decision's been made for the immediate future. The pool will open, on time, regular schedule this summer. When it closes, we will then start a construction project to do repairs at the pool, upgrade the facilities. Obviously, the pool is going to stay where it is, and replace the lining. Try to identify exactly where the water that they're losing, every day is going, and we think there's multiple leaks there. Yeah. But simply tearing it down and redoing it, we can't justify the cost of that
based on the revenue and how many people are using it.
Well, we're going to keep the pool. And we're going to enhance I think the experience of the people that go there. But certainly from day one, I said, whatever we do, we got to find out how much it's going to cost.
Absolutely. Whether
we replace it in full or whether we start repairs, move forward with that. But I was never going to, regardless of what people might have thought or said, I was never going to support moving that pool. I wasn't going to do it. And I just think that would have been a mistake.
Will there be, in your opinion or fact, what do you know, will there be any changes in the structure of the pool? Will the walls change? Will they close it, make it less?
I think at this point it's going.
For this year?
It's going to remain as it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's it. Well, folks, that's pretty much what we want to hear and what we're doing. And you start fixing sewers, fixing electric, fixing pools, a lot of money, folks. Wastewater, a lot of money, folks.
And working on city streets that we have responsibility for.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
I have looked at the county budgets because all over the state, because what I do, compare and contrast. It's internet tax has kind of saved the counties. Do you get a piece of that? I mean, y'all get some of the tax money that comes in retail for schools do.
School, yeah.
I mean, I look at
different, but
I can remember 20 years ago we were fined over $1,800. They got $20 million in reserve. So the county has $20 million in reserve. So there's money coming in. Of course, they're managing it well, but still, it's a different situation. How are relationships between the county commission and those boards in Oak Ridge? Is there much overlap anymore? Do you talk? I mean.
We do talk, and I think we have, a positive relationship.
That's a good thing.
Not only, with the Anderson County Mayor and the Commission, but also the Rome County Executive, County Mayor Wade Creswell, and the Rome County Commission. A lot of people don't understand it. A third of the city in Oak Ridge, land-wise, is in Rome County.
And a growing amount of population.
And in terms of the property that is going to be made available by the Department of Energy, the majority of it is on the west end of town, which is in Rome County, and that's where that's where.
That's a good lead-in for. Tell us about this new organization. I mean, Sean has told me. No. I mean the Oak Ridge Corridor Development Corporation. That's right. Because I heard good things about all of you getting along and doing good work.
Well, 30 years ago, Lamar Alexander coined the term the Oak Ridge Corridor.
Okay.
And he explained how important Oak Ridge was, but that, it ran from Rome County through Oak Ridge, through Knox County, into Maryville to the Smoky Mountains.
See, I always thought that started in Oak Ridge and went straight off Pellissippi and the Smoky Mountains. I never knew it had a diagonal from Rome County.
And so and when I was elected mayor.
Long time. How many? Well, we got about 10 years now.
Well,
11.
I was elected in 2014.
You're chasing AK Bissell, aren't you?
I won't not chasing. I'm not chasing.
I think he was on there.
I'm not chasing the legendary Mayor Bissell.
He lived my neighborhood. He's a good guy.
But in any event, taking that seriously.
Yes.
Now we have what's referred to as the nuclear renaissance, and nuclear power and how we produce it, how we produce the fuel for it, how that's going to be done. And that's going to be done primarily, at least in East Tennessee, in the Oak Ridge corridor. And property coming through Roane County into the city of Oak Ridge. And by the way, all the property that we're talking about that is available from the Department of Energy, every square inch of it is within inside the city of Oak Ridge.
We're landlocked on the east.
It's in Roane County, but the city of Oak Ridge is in that part of Roane County. So the idea.
I think Watts Well's the only plant in Anderson County.
That's correct.
Yeah.
And I think that the Development Corporation was actually the idea of our new city manager was, they knew he's been here a year and a half now, Randy Heeman, in terms of putting together a group from Anderson, Roane, and Oak Ridge leaders, both political leaders, business leaders, that could be a one-stop shop for any company that's coming in and dealing with the state of Tennessee, trying to get state incentives, local incentives, and moving their facility or building a new facility in Oak Ridge and in the corridor, such as Arano, which was announced last September, which is going to be a $5.5 billion project, and again, out on the west end. And in addition to Triso X and other developments that are going in closer to town in the Horizon Center, Arano is going to be on property that's closer to, not in K25 or Heritage, but out there. So, but the Development Corporation, as I say, has the mayor of Anderson County, the county executive, business leaders and community leaders from Anderson, Roane, and the city of Oak Ridge. I chose not to be a member of the commission. I wanted it broader so that while Oak Ridge is the center of it, Oak Ridge doesn't necessarily, the city of Oak Ridge doesn't dominate it. So I'm not serving directly on it. My appointee is Gerald Boyd, who I think is as respected as any person in this area. And so they are going to be a point of contact that will work with the state, with the IDBs of Roane County, the city of Oak Ridge, and ACETA, which is the Anderson County Economic Development Authority. All right. And everybody is engaged. That doesn't mean that, it's all about Oak Ridge or what's here. It's also how is this going to impact positively Anderson County and Roane County, Clinton. What does it do for Clinton? What does it do for Anderson County? And so everybody gets at least a seat, at the table when these things come in and we're competing, against the world for these projects.
I get it. Okay. This is controversial, and, well, in a way it is. And it happened earlier in the week, and I want you to think through it before you answer this question. And you don't have to answer if you want to. Both senators sent a letter to the president, apparently. I didn't read it. I read considerably, but I didn't, requesting that we get an interim TVA director and that we get new board members, I think is what we recommended, that would be more business appropriate, manage better, have more experience. Those qualifications are not contained in the present board is what the implication is. Not that they don't have skills in a lot of areas, but they want a more focused business approach whatsoever. Here's my question. My question is, how does TVA, outside of electric rates, which has a certain consumer viability, to be fair, TVA is in the nuclear business too, and they want to build SMRs.
Right.
They need fuel, et cetera, et cetera. So I understand the management change and the need to have better business. Personally, this is me talking, and I understand all that. But my question to you is, how does TVA impact Oak Ridge? Not worried about consumer electricity here, but how do they, as an entity, how do they? What do we need to be? Not about the letter, but in general, what is our need to support TVA in this?
Well, you got to remember it does start with electricity, and whether it's coming into homes or whether it's coming into businesses, they are the driver in terms of economic development, because any company that's coming in to this area is going to deal with TVA because TVA supplies the power. TVA does it in a manner that is more competitive in its pricing than anywhere else in the country. And so that gives us leverage as we're dealing with the Oranos of the world and others.
I see. When you put a package together,
you put a package together. And I will just say this. I have utmost respect for Jeff Lyash and the members of the board. And they've been operating for well over a year and a half with vacancies on the TVA board. Now, for whatever reason, those didn't, even though people were nominated, those appointments were not taken up, by the United States Senate. I don't want to get partisan here, but TVA is absolutely critical, and I do think they're well managed, and I think they're making a difference every day, and I think they will continue to do that. And it's my hope that we can all come together and be of one voice as it relates to Jeff Lyash's successor, since Mr. Lyash, who again I think has done a great job, will be retiring at the end of the summer.
Yes.
But make no doubt about it, Oak Ridge, and by the way, TVA supplies every bit of electricity to Y12, to ORNL. All these supercomputers rely on the electricity that's being supplied at very attractive rates from TVA to ORNL to Y12, and that's part of our history. It is absolutely critical to national defense. TVA, I believe, helps enrich, not here, but in other places, uranium, which the Navy relies on. Obviously, that's part of that's done here in Oak Ridge. But again, everybody can have their ideas and criticisms, of TVA. But we need to remember our history. We need to remember what a difference they've made. We need to understand that they make not only East Tennessee, but the entire 7-state region that they serve competitive against the country and helps in economic development. And everybody relies on that, regardless of what part of the state they're in, the state of Tennessee, in attracting new investment and new people, new technologies that keep Tennessee at the forefront.
I agree with you on Jeff. I think Lash has done a good job. I don't think there's any question about that. As the director in our foundation, wish him the best after he retires. I just have a lot of respect for Senator Bill Hagerty's business knowledge and his ability to assess situations, more so than probably anybody else on that level in Tennessee. And when he says there's a mess, I've got to look at it and listen to it. I don't know what that means. And I don't think it's aimed at the day-to-day successes in electricity and other things. I would use this analogy. And listen, I am not prepared to make my opinion means very little except to what I can assess. And I'm not studied on it, not part of my job. But here's my concern. You can have a great war effort, and you can just simply an analogy. You can have a great war effort, and you can say we need more tanks, more men, whatever, and you can send those to the front. But if the generals aren't doing the job and the leadership does not do the job, and I'm not talking about Jeff Lyash, I'm talking about if the board does not reflect those management skills and moving ahead, and I think the letter directly talked about SMRs. That basically said they're not in a position to deliver the SMRs. They don't have the right people in control. Now, that's opinion probably. I don't know if that's right or wrong, but it concerns me. I think it concerns a lot of people that this would be raised at these issues. So I don't know. Again, Warren, you're probably in a better position to assess it than I am.
Well, I think if you're concerned, about the management reports to the board. There's some good people on the board, I think. That doesn't mean you couldn't, bring in more people. And there's 3 vacancies now.
Yes.
And so I would just encourage the senators to move those appointments along. I mean, what we got to remember is TVA's, number one supporter and voice and champion is Chuck Flashman.
No question.
And so I'm going to, obviously I'm going to defer to Chuck Flashman in terms of what he thinks needs to happen in terms of Oak Ridge, TVA, which it's not just an Oak Ridge issue.
Excellent point.
But he deals with it every day.
And that goes for all energy sectors on his behalf. He is looked at as the most expert person in the House of Representatives,
and of course
probably the Senate, on energy issues. That's why he's the appropriate.
But he obviously has a great relationship with the 2 United States senators, and hopefully
a good relationship with the president, and a good relationship with TVA.
But again, hopefully the senators will coordinate their efforts with TVA's champion. And I just think that's vitally important.
Yeah, I think so. Let's take another break, Chandler. We'll come right back.
From Oak Ridge, Tennessee, IB3 Global Solutions conducts operations around the world to enhance the U.S. national security posture and minimize radiological and nuclear threats. IB3 Global Solutions. Mission first.
Fan Gear Barn is Oak Ridge's source for new and vintage sports fan gear from around the world of sports. Find your favorite team gear at Fan Gear Barn, located at 977 Oak Ridge Turnpike, across from the hospital. Open 10 a.m. to 7 p.m., 6 days a week. Closed on Sundays.
Prescription drug misuse is a prevalent and potentially fatal problem. When people do not properly monitor, store, and dispose their medications, it can create an opportunity for misuse. Count it. Make it a goal to count your pills once every 2 weeks. Lock it. Secure your medications at home. Drop it. Drop off unused or expired medications for proper disposal at any police department in Anderson County. For more info, visit asapofanderson.org. Brought to you by ASAP of Anderson. Prevention works.
Feeling overwhelmed with your business finances? At P&L Business Services, we handle all your bookkeeping, payroll, and tax needs. From federal tax returns to QuickBooks training, we've got you covered. With over 25 years of experience, we provide customized packages to fit your business. Focus on what you love most, building your business. Let us take care of the rest. Call 865-294-4792. P&L Business Services, empowering you to grow your business.
Over 14,000 neighbors live in fear of becoming sick or injured and having to make a choice between putting food on the table or seeking medical care. The free medical clinic tries to take that fear away.
Bringing the healthcare, primary care out to our rural communities. I've had patients tell me that if it wasn't for us, they wouldn't be able to have any kind of health care. So us being able to go into these areas and provide that on-site care to these patients that can also come back week to week if they need for follow-up primary care, it is life-changing. It means a world of difference between actually life and death for them.
Welcome back. We're getting a lot of information. We're getting a lot of updates, and you never have to worry about it. Warren's prepared. So, Mayor Gooch, what's next on the list? You and the man with the information.
Well, I think we need to, again, compliment the governor going back to the nuclear renaissance and his commitment to funding projects that are going to enhance the ability to provide nuclear fuel and nuclear energy not only to our state but to our country. And that fund, has grown from 25 million to 50 million to 60 million. Arano, which is underway, would not have come to Tennessee without a commitment from that fund. Governor Lee has been in the forefront of pushing the nuclear renaissance, which I think is incredibly important, not just in terms of economic development, but in meeting the demands for electricity and power going forward, and doing it in a way that helps protect, our environment. These new generations of supercomputers, artificial intelligence take tremendous amounts of energy.
I learned that from Bitcoin.
And there you and again, it's absolutely critical that the SMRs are built. We have, for instance, we do have Kairos Power, which is building its prototype enrichment facility using one technology that's different from SMRs in the Heritage Center. And Kairos has been approved by the Nuclear Regulatory Commission, and they're continuing that. They've got projects here. They've got projects in California. That is exciting because they're moving forward. TVA, again, on the SMR project, its SMR project has to be able to get the funding approved, be able to deal with their debt limit, and at the same time that they're providing new power for SMRs. They got to remember their mission is not only, originally for economic development and flood control, but to bring electricity to the citizens of the service area, the 7-state service area, which obviously all of Tennessee is in. And so that's where we are.
Yeah, and one other thing about TVA.
But again, talking about Governor Lee, he has been absolutely, and Commissioner McWhorter in ECD, they have been committed to this. They've stayed focused on it. They have made it a priority for the state, and it isn't just because the first big project has been landed in Oak Ridge. It has a broader reach, a broader significance to the state, even though I think Oak Ridge is as important as any city, in the state of Tennessee, and will have as much impact on the future of this state. But again, focused like a laser, no pun intended, on the nuclear renaissance, and people, I think that's going to be Bill Lee's
Why
legacy.
did they title it, do you think, Renaissance? Aren't we already at a certain point, or is it just a changing?
Well, I just think it's the next step. I think in terms of new technologies, new availability of things
are changing, emerging.
That's correct. Emerging technologies, better receptivity of our citizens in terms of embracing nuclear energy, regardless of it.
If you don't know, there's a tremendous emphasis right now on small modular reactors. That's what SMRs
are.
And they're smaller, and they can produce a certain amount of energy that's necessary for things and they're cheaper to make. I mean, less
as opposed to the massive
reactors.
Power plants and reactors.
That's correct. Or like Oak Ridge in the 40s, 50s, bigger reactors. So it's a different thing altogether, et cetera, et cetera. I think that's right. So what about economic development? We've done a good job with that. Are new businesses coming in?
Obviously, yes, they are. And clearly, in terms of the city, new residential building continues to move forward from west to east, and that's important for multiple reasons. First of all, you want a city to grow. You want new people. You want new ideas, fresh energy, but it also energy in terms of people energy. But it also helps broaden the tax base and allows us the ability to enhance our schools, to enhance services to our citizens. And for years, almost 30 years, the population in Oak Ridge was below 30,000.
Yes. And we talked about that 3 or 4 years. Our goal in the census was to get over 30.
And now we're closer to 35.
That's right.
And we're going to continue to grow because obviously Oak Ridge is the top of mind for multiple reasons, and both in location, both in the political support that it has in terms of the technology that's here, the reputation of Oak Ridge National Laboratory, the Department of Energy, and all of its missions.
Well, I think it's good. I think we had a push 25 years ago to try to create more, I don't want to call them manufacturing jobs in 2025. I guess IT jobs now, technology jobs, things of that nature. Could you tell me what, I was at a table with Stephen and Rich and everybody, and the Kairos CEO was there.
Right.
What do they do? And when I Google it, I get IT stuff. But I don't think that's what they're doing in the nuclear industry, is it?
Well, they are building their own prototype in terms of again, I would refer to them as smaller nuclear units that can provide electricity.
Well, there's a lot of competition in that area.
There is a lot
Every
of competition.
Every time I talk to somebody, it's the same company description, et cetera, et cetera. And of course, the big question that we have in the world, and what I work with too, is the production of fuel. There's a shortage. And I'm glad Orano is here. I know we have we want to produce our own domestically, but we're going to have some interface with that. That's not going to happen for 10 years.
Well, and that's right, and we need to remember the national security aspect of producing enriched uranium that our nuclear fleet, naval fleet, relies on.
Well, and people need to understand there's enriched uranium, there's highly enriched uranium,
right.
And there's two different demands for that in different areas. It just depends. Let's take one more break, and we'll come right back.
From Oak Ridge, Tennessee, ID3 Global Solutions conducts operations around the world to enhance the U.S. national security posture and minimize radiological and nuclear threats. ID3 Global Solutions. Mission first.
Feeling overwhelmed with your business finances? At P&L Business Services, we handle all your bookkeeping, payroll, and tax needs. From federal tax returns to QuickBooks training, we've got you covered. With over 25 years of experience, we provide customized packages to fit your business. Focus on what you love most, building your business. Let us take care of the rest. Call 865-294-4792. P&L Business Services, empowering you to grow your business.
Prescription drug misuse is a prevalent and potentially fatal problem. When people do not properly monitor, store, and dispose their medications, it can create an opportunity for misuse. Count it. Make it a goal to count your pills once every 2 weeks. Lock it. Secure your medications at home. Drop it. Drop off unused or expired medications for proper disposal at any police department in Anderson County. For more info, visit asapofanderson.org. Brought to you by ASAP of Anderson. Prevention works.
Over 14,000 neighbors live in fear of becoming sick or injured and having to make a choice between putting food on the table or seeking medical care. The free medical clinic tries to take that fear away.
What do we help them with? We help them with diabetes, hypertension, any kind of medical need that they need that's necessary. And being in a community with the African American community lets them know that we're here.
Fan Gear Barn is Oak Ridge's source for new and vintage sports fan gear from around the world of sports. Find your favorite team gear at Fan Gear Barn, located at 977 Oak Ridge Turnpike, across from the hospital. Open 10 a.m. to 7 p.m., 6 days a week. Closed on Sundays.
Okay, we're back with Mayor Warren Gooch. We're about to wrap it up. We got 8 or 9 minutes left. We're going to let the mayor pick a couple of more subjects that he feels important for you.
Well, another topic in project that has been in plans for a couple of years now is we have to have a new animal shelter. And
in Oak Ridge?
In Oak Ridge.
It can't be any more controversial than the one in Anderson County.
Well, I understand, but in terms of its useful life, we've made those promises, and we have actually bought land where we are.
Where's it going to be? Where'd you buy land?
It's going to, well.
How about convenience center? Every time I go down there and say, Alan, you got to help us. We need a new place.
And then we've also purchased land for a new fire station 2, which is on the east end here, because it's past its useful life.
One on the turnpike.
One on the turnpike, and it's going to move up behind Home Depot that way. Yeah. So we've been able to do that.
We've had some expansion over there. The health clubs, the doctors' office.
That's correct.
That's one area where there has been a little line by Rhone State over there.
Yeah, and and then we will continue to expand our trails, in greenways, and that's obviously important in terms of the livability of Oak Ridge, and the city's committed, to that. And I think we will see an expansion. We have 70 miles of trails and greenways. The city is fully supportive of the Scarborough 85 project and getting the monument funded and placed in Bissell Park.
Last cycle, we ran into somebody dropping the ball.
Yeah.
Have we got it organized for this cycle?
I think we do.
Okay.
I think we do, and we got to keep working on it. The new convention center is open, and again, we want to thank everyone was involved and supportive of that.
Tell us where that is.
Well, it's where the library. I mean, okay. So it's and there was a center there, a meeting center there, but it wasn't state of the art. And so now the new what I would call the Grand Hall can accommodate up to 400 people.
Oh, that's good.
And it will be.
Good place to hold a reorganization. No inside joke.
And so that project is now complete, and it will enable lots of types of different activities, projects, meetings, again across the board, which hopefully will bring new visitors to Oak Ridge, but also keep business in Oak Ridge that's had to go to Knoxville.
You're close enough to all the restaurants, you don't really, have facilities. Usually you'd have them combined, but it's not a bad deal.
And so I would encourage everyone, when they get a chance, to go over to the Civic Center and look at the facility.
So if you come in the left side, down where the administrative office used to be, it's right across the hall.
Right, correct.
And they didn't add any square footage; they just remodeled inside.
Remodeled, and there's going to be more there's going to be more enhancements outside in terms of taking up, some of the concrete, the paths, and everything. And one thing that I'm going to do, and I brought it up at the work session this month. One of the most remarkable people I've ever met, and I've now lived in Oak Ridge for 32 years, was Edwina Crowe. And she was a trailblazer not only for women, for African Americans, for commitment to all of the different organizations in town, enhancing the communication between DOE, the contractors, the citizens. She was always the free medical clinic. She and Charles and their family and their friends, she was involved in everything. And I would describe her as a very positive and beautiful force of nature, and very persuasive. And I am.
She recently passed away.
She passed away, passed away in January, and I am will be bringing to council we talked about it at the resolution naming the main hall in the new convention center in memory and in honor of Edwina Crowe.
I support that 100%.
And so I'm very appreciative about that. Appreciate her and her family. And on a personal note, we've very fortunate, in the city for all the people that, contribute every day. That's right. In many organizations. And, we've, we need to recognize them.
Yes.
So,
and that's one of the more outstanding ones, The same as what I'm trying to do is my closest friend for 40 years, John Shuey, recently died. And he was a star music person here, did play us just 30, 40 years ago. But we've got a scholarship named after him, which you kindly contributed to, and others and leaders, and we're going to keep going that. But that's going to provide some student, $2,500 a year.
And on a personal note, for me, I had the privilege of serving on city council with Kelly Callison, who passed away last week.
Kelly passed away?
Yeah, Kelly.
I didn't even know that.
Kelly passed away last week.
Oh, last week. Okay.
Not last week. He was he not only was my colleague, he was a friend and confidant to me and to others, and he has died too soon.
Kelly had that. Yeah. He had that. What's the word I'm looking for? That kind of. I don't want to put. Don't wait. That's a bad label, but he had a pacifist kind of. He was calm all the time. He was able to work with you and listen to you all sides.
Yeah,
I appreciated that.
He was good for me evening out some of my right spots.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Rough spots.
Another really good one.
And again, when I became mayor, one of the first things I did is I said, the Budget and Finance Committee was going to meet every month. For whatever reason, the city didn't do that for a number of years. They did it periodically. And Kelly Callison was my first chair of the Budget and Finance Committee. And my heartfelt sentiments go to, Stacy and his family. And he was just a great man. It's hard to replace.
And you know what? We're at that stage, me and you, where you were starting to lose more.
That's right.
We've got to be appreciative every minute we get. It's all a gift. Let me say this. Next week, we're going to, if it gets done by next Thursday, we're going to come on and talk about the closing of the primaries and what that means and how that's going to impact everybody. We'll give you details on what you have to do.
About the county primaries.
Well, I'm talking about
county Republican primary.
Oh, they can restrict. Now, as far as qualifications concerned, in terms of registering to vote, they can impact state, everything. Okay. So not closing, but I'm talking about, in other words, if you want to go in and vote in the Republican primary for state rep, you have to sign the document if you haven't registered as a Republican. That's what the bill says. So we'll see what everything plays out, and that's a drastic shift in policies. And if you vote in one primary, doesn't matter which one, you can't vote in the other primary for 90 days. So that means if you vote Republican in May, you have to stay Republican in August. We appreciate it.
Thank you, citizens of Oak Ridge, for making this city great.
One of the best mayors in Oak Ridge history, no question. Thank you.